Welcome back to another video on this channel. Now today's video is going to be about the rise and fall of Jeffrey Epstein. Now this will be a deep but straight to the point dive into exploitation, power, and the elusive truth. Jeffrey Epstein's name has become synonymous with scandal, sex trafficking, and a mystery that continues to stir public fascination and outrage years after his death. A man who moved in the highest echelons of global society, rubbing shoulders with royalties, presidents, and tech billionaires, also orchestrated a vast and disturbing criminal enterprise that spanned decades. This video explores Epstein's life, his rise to power, criminal activities, his mysterious death, and the lingering shadows cast over global elites, including the official stance of the Trump administration regarding the so-called Epstein client list. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. Despite an unremarkable academic record and never earning a college degree, Epstein demonstrated an ability to gain access to elite institutions. He briefly taught physics and calculus at the prestigious Dalton School in Manhattan, where he began cultivating relationships with influential families. One of those connections helped launch him into the world of finance. Epstein joined Bear Stearns, rising quickly despite his lack of formal financial training. In the 1980s, he founded his own investment firm, J. Epstein & Co., which claimed to manage the assets of billionaires. His actual client list and base and financial dealings have remained mostly opaque, raising suspicions over the years about how he truly amassed his vast wealth. As his fortune grew, so did Epstein's social circle. He became known for his lavish lifestyle and the powerful friends that he kept. He owned an array of luxury properties, a mansion on Manhattan's Upper East Side, a villa in Palm Beach, a ranch in New Mexico, an apartment in Paris, and most notoriously, a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands dubbed Little St. James. Epstein maintained close associations with high-profile individuals, including former U.S. Presidents Bill Clinton and even today's President Donald Trump, Britain's Prince Andrew, attorney Alan Dershowitz, and tech luminaries like Elon Musk and even Bill Gates. Many of these connections would later become subjects of intense scrutiny as allegations emerged about Epstein's use of these spaces and relationships to facilitate his heinous crimes. In 2005, Epstein's criminal enterprise began to unravel when the family of a 14-year-old girl in Palm Beach, Florida, reported him to the local police. The investigation quickly uncovered a disturbing pattern. Dozens of underage girls had been recruited to perform sexual acts under the guise of offering massages in exchange for money. By 2008, federal prosecutors had prepared a 53-page indictment. Yet, in a highly controversial move, Epstein struck a plea deal with the then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta. He pleaded guilty in state court to lesser charges of procuring a minor for prostitution, and he served just 13 months in jail under highly favorable conditions that allowed him to live daily on work release. This deal also guaranteed and granted immunity to his unnamed co-conspirators and effectively sealed the full scope of his alleged heinous crimes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this sweetheart deal was kept hidden from the victims, violating federal law and sparking widespread condemnation. Acosta would later become Secretary of Labor under President Trump, but resigned amid renewed scrutiny of his role in Epstein's deal. In July 2019, federal authorities arrested Epstein again, this time charging him with operating a vast sex trafficking network involving dozens of underage girls in Florida and New York between 2002 and 2005. Prosecutors described a pyramid scheme in which Epstein paid young victims to recruit others, perpetuating this cycle of abuse. Evidence seized from his Manhattan mansion included a safe filled with hard drives, CDs labeled with the names of girls, and hundreds of explicit photos. Federal officials suggested there were many more victims than those named in the indictment. Epstein was denied bail and faced up to 45 years in prison if convicted. Just weeks after his arrest on August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. The official cause of death was said to be suicide by hanging. However, ladies and gentlemen, circumstances surrounding his death raised immediate and ongoing suspicion. Surveillance cameras near his cell had malfunctioned. Both guards assigned to monitor him fell asleep and falsified records. Epstein's cellmate had been transferred hours earlier, leaving him in his cell alone. He had reportedly attempted suicide just weeks prior and was placed on and then removed from suicide watch. An independent autopsy commissioned by Epstein's brother, conducted by famed forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden, concluded that the injuries were more consistent with homicidal strangulation than by suicide. Conspiracy theories exploded online and across the media, fueled by the timing and the context of Jeffrey Epstein's death. The two guards eventually admitted to falsifying records and received probation. The warden was reassigned, and the jail came under heavy criticism. Now, this lady Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite and longtime Epstein associate, was arrested in July 2020 after months in hiding. Prosecutors charged her with recruiting and grooming underage girls for Epstein to abuse. Now, in December 2021, Maxwell was convicted on 5 federal charges, including sex trafficking of a minor, and she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Maxwell's trial provided some of the only courtroom testimony about how Epstein trafficking operation worked, but many hoped that it would have exposed his wider network. Those hoping for bombshell revelations about high-profile individuals were left very, very disappointed, as few names emerged from the court proceedings. One of the most enduring controversies surrounding Epstein's case is the notion of a secret client list, a roster of powerful men who allegedly participated in or enabled his abuse network. This idea was fueled by logs from Epstein's private jets showing frequent travel by certain celebrities and politicians, seized documents and photographs, and testimonies and civil lawsuits hinting at wider complicity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, earlier this year in 2025, pressure mounted for the Department of Justice, or DOJ for short, to release all relevant Epstein files. Attorney General Pam Bondi addressed these concerns by stating that while a large volume of documents had been reviewed, there was no evidence of a specific blackmail-driven client list, as often speculated online. Now, Caroline Leavitt, press secretary under President Trump, clarified that references to client lists was a misunderstood. According to Caroline Leavitt, when officials like Pam Bondi referred to the list, they were simply speaking about the general body of evidence, which was just flight logs, financial transactions, communications, and photographs, and not a compiled record of co-conspirators. Now, although Donald Trump himself had once called Epstein a terrific guy in 2002, Donald Trump later distanced himself and claimed that they had a falling out. Now, some Donald Trump allies, including attorney Alan Dershowitz, who was named in civil lawsuits but denied all wrongdoing, claimed to have insight into the files but cited legal constraints on him disclosing anything. The Trump administration maintained that no clear evidence implicated the former president or his inner circle in Epstein's crimes. Now, despite multiple investigations, a cloud of suspicion continues to hover over Jeffrey Epstein's network. The 2008 plea deal shattered public trust in the legal system's ability to hold the powerful people in this world accountable. His 2019 death, surrounded by the procedural failures, cemented a belief among many people like me that justice had once again been obstructed. Institutions including MIT, Harvard, and other academic and philanthropic entities were forced to reckon with their ties to Epstein. Many returned donations, while others issued public apologies or launched internal reviews. Jeffrey Epstein's story is not just about one man's predatory behavior. It's a mirror reflecting how power, money, and influence can protect the worst among us. His mysterious and fishy death deprived the world of a full accounting of his crimes and connections, and the mystery of those who knew what or who participated continues to haunt the public's imagination. Now, as official investigations conclude and files are slowly released, the true extent of Epstein's reach may never be fully known. But his case has already reshaped public conversation about abuse, corruption, and the importance of transparency, no matter how powerful these individuals involved are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you all think of this Jeffrey Epstein situation. And once again, thanks for watching.